Hello and welcome. I am Lorena Buck, a senior advisor with Boston Consulting Group, and we are here today to discuss Pillar 5 of the BlackNorth Racial Equity Playbook to help you think about how to include minority groups with your equitable company portfolio of products and brand. So this pillar is Pillar 5. It is one of the 6 pillars on the journey to drive racial equity in corporate Canada. And you can find information and videos on all 6 of these pillars on the BlackNorth website. But today, let's dig into pillar number 5. So as we think about how to ensure you're creating an equitable company, product portfolio, and brand, the outcome here is to ensure that the products and services that you are creating can positively and equitably serve Black and Indigenous customers, as well as the rest of your customer base in Canada, and to help you to positively drive penetration and market share with this customer base, which we think will also help you to just grow your revenues and your profitability over time. Now, for this section, as with all of the sections, we have organized the content behind this pillar into these 7 chevrons that you can see at the top of the screen. So we're going to start with stakeholders and then move all the way right until we get to case studies. Now, as we think about the stakeholders that are responsible for ensuring that you're creating creating the right product portfolio, we have a handful of stakeholders that are really important here. First is your marketing and your sales and business development teams, because these teams are going to be the ones that are really responsible for ensuring that you have the right market access, as well as that you're creating the right content that will engage your customer base that you desire. But then additionally, you want to ensure that you also have your product management and your executive team fully aligned with this as well, so that you are integrating this truly into your business strategy. Now, in this section, we have 4 levers that will help us to succeed at creating the right products and services. And so here you'll see the first one, business strategy that considers equity impact. And this is where you're really trying to drive change with your entire leadership and how they start to think about business strategy, and making sure that you're creating the right processes in place to ensure equity in those decisions, so that you're getting the types of outcomes that you want from the products and services that you create. Second, diversity in business partnerships. And so this is where you may be leveraging partnerships with other organizations, suppliers, nonprofits, other types of businesses that can really help you to be able to access this population. Third, ensuring inclusivity in the portfolio of products and services that you are creating. And so here it's really about ensuring that you are actually creating products that are accessible to the Black and Indigenous population. One example of this would be something like if you create financial products, maybe those individuals in the Black and Indigenous communities that you serve have a different level of financial awareness and education. And so you have to also make sure that you're providing the right resources to allow them to properly understand and access your products. And finally, an equitable brand and company content. And so this really comes into how you market your products and services and ensure that that brand is able to resonate with that broader set of customers and not just one specific demographic. And here we do have a set of common and innovative practices listed, but you'll also find in the action section a much longer list of practices that you can consider as part of your work to invest here. Now, as we move into the baselining exercise, so the first thing, as with all of these sections that we want to do, is to understand where your organization is in its journey towards racial equity in corporate Canada. And so we want to understand where your practices lie today. One of the first things that you can be looking at is, what is the actual percent of marketing or sales that is actually serving the Black or Indigenous customer base. Some of those ways can be simple things like, what percent of your marketing spend are with Black or Indigenous advertising agencies. It can be things like looking for ways to survey your customer population, understand what percentage of your customer population is Black or Indigenous, again, to be able to help understand, how much of that population you're accessing today. And so we give a number of different ways in which you can do these types of measurements to be able to get that baseline and understand what your business looks like today in terms of its ability to access this broader set of customers. And then the second thing that you'll want to do is to use that baseline to help set the right aspiration. And as you're setting an aspiration, you're probably going to want to understand, the population that you are serving with your products and services, and be using that to understand what is the proper aspiration. And so, oftentimes, that may be an aspiration in terms of, wanting to access a certain percent of your customers as Black or Indigenous. You may also think about it from the standpoint of what is the buying power of that particular population for the products and services that you offer. Now, after you have completed your baseline and you've had a chance to set that aspiration, we now can start to look at the specific actions that you can that you can implement within your organization to help you make progress here. And so this is just one of 4 pages that detail actions, one page for each of the levers that we showed before. That will help you on your way to creating an equitable brand and product portfolio. Now, for each one of these pages, you will find it organized. You will find these actions organized with these 3 columns. So first, there are actions that apply to people, actions that apply to process and policy, and actions that apply to technology and data. You will also find each of these actions scored with this level of resource intensity. So you can see this low, medium, and high circles on these items that help you get a sense of what level of intensity of resources you will need, whether people or capital. And then the last thing you'll find here are a couple of stars that show you, if you're not sure where to start, what we consider to be the no regrets actions for being able to start your journey here. And so the 2 no regrets actions that we have outlined on this page are, first, to include Black creatives, Black or Indigenous creatives on the teams that are actually drafting the content and communications in your organization. So the best way to ensure that you're getting equitable marketing materials is to just include creatives who have that background in your teams. The second example that we have here is this idea of implementing equity checks for content by third parties. And so this can help you to avoid what some organizations have actually seen, which is they are trying to do something that creates equity, but there are times when it can actually come across as exactly the opposite or tone deaf. And so one example of that is there was a retailer who had decided during Black History Month to create a sale. And that sale was to take a certain percent off of the Black items in their store. And generally speaking, you will find that the Black population does not like it when retailers use these types of events as an opportunity for just creating their own commercial gains. That they really prefer more authentic ways of engaging with them. Now, after you've had a chance to look through these actions, you will also find in the playbook a section on tracking, as well as a section on resources that help you to be able to complete your baselining and your tracking of these initiatives to allow you to be successful. You will also find a handful of case studies in here that help to make some of these actions a little bit more real as you go about your journey. And I wanted to highlight just a couple of those examples today. So 2 examples here. You'll see on the left-hand side, one simple way in which Johnson & Johnson has been able to make progress here was to extend the color range of their Band-Aid products to create shades that better match a more diverse range of skin tones. And you've actually seen this. We've seen this in many different types of consumer products, makeup, shoes, clothing, actually starting to, think that there is more than one version of nude. And so, using that as a way in which you're actually creating more equity in your product lines. Another way that comes about in terms of thinking about how you market your products is something that L'Oreal had gone after, which was to remove words that refer to skin as fair or light, and really making it seem like the goal of their products was to get you to a fair or light skin tone because that is seen as positive. And so instead, thinking about words that can apply to a broader set of demographics and skin tones, but that can still promote, positivity, right, in their product line. And so again, a really good example of how you think about the types of words that you use and how you're actually promoting that type of equity. All right. And we hope that this has helped you to get a better understanding of how you can be embedding equity into the products and services that you are creating in your company. And if you have any questions about this section or any of the other 6 pillars in the playbook, please feel free to reach out to the team at BlackNorth or the BCG team supporting the BlackNorth Initiative, as well as going to the BlackNorth website. Thank you very much.